With games like River City Girls 2 and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game constantly being in rotation for me over the years, I wouldn't mind a new beat 'em up to add into the mix that matches the highs of those two. The cool thing about this genre is how creative developers are able to be in it. For instance, you can lean more into the arcadey difficulty that we've seen in retro games, or you can go into a more RPG approach with character growth and narrative branches. More recently, we saw the release of Absalom, which caters to the genre in a more roguelike structure, but still, I can't help wanting a more chaotic take on the genre. This is why I've been waiting for the release of Marvel Cosmic Invasion for quite some time now. Every character reveal had me excited about the next one, and Tribute Games being the developer behind it all made it even better. Well, after many runs, I'm happy to report that you have a new co-op holiday game to bust out for your families this year, but let's get into that in this review.
A mighty evil is waging war across the cosmos. Annihilus has emerged from the depths of the negative zone to claim the entire universe as his own. Chaos and destruction reign. Now his sights fall onto Earth itself.
Marvel Cosmic Invasion has a story, but it mostly all boils down to the galaxy being in trouble and a group of superheroes now have to save it. The campaign is all about pairings, and while you can bring a group of 4 players into a campaign, the story sections focus on a duo of heroes for the duration of the stage. Before you begin a stage, you can choose 2 characters to bring with you into a level. Further, the game highlights the characters who are featured in the story if you were curious. I did find that these characters were also the best suited to take on the enemies and stage hazards across that specific level, but there's enough characters to create your own pairings and take on the level as you wish. Still, each stage has optional challenges, which sometimes require you to do something as a specific character. I decided to play through the game as the recommended characters first, then get crazy afterwards. Using characters in battle also earns them experience that unlocks more HP and buffs, along with additional palette swaps. While this definitely encourages you to use all the characters, I did notice that I earned levels pretty quickly, and by the end of my 3rd run, everyone was leveled up without me having to do much cleanup. Also, if you die, you still earn experience, so progression is always rewarded no matter what you do. There's a roster of 15 characters, and while that does sound kind of small when taking into consideration the entire Marvel universe, Tribute Games has done a great job of channeling that ambition to ensure that each character played to their strengths. The balance found in the moveset of each character can be felt as you play through the campaign. While I easily have my favorites, and something tells me the developers did too, I found something to like about each of them. On the high end, we have Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Black Panther, but on the low end, at least for me, was Rocket Raccoon and She-Hulk. Everyone else just kinda lands in the middle, but I also can't stress enough that everyone has some cool qualities to their movesets. However, I didn't like how the developers opted to make the characters either block or dodge, instead of allowing them to just do both depending on the situation. I say this because dodge for some characters can also act as a boost across the stage. It's really easy to get used to this action and incorporate it into your general combo as you bounce across the screen. However, some characters will just stand there and block, causing some brief combo interruptions just due to muscle memory. Still, I should mention that the perfect parry action can briefly disrupt enemies if timed correctly, so that's cool I guess. Another action that is only sometimes utilized is also flying. There should have been a dedicated flying stage or something to force players to use the flying actions more often, but I never actually felt the need to fly. And while I'm talking about what the game is missing, let us ride the damn dinosaurs, guys, what is this? Now that that's out of the way, we can talk about how insanely fun Marvel Cosmic Invasion is to play.
Why, helpful! I let them use the Valles, and in return, they provide me fresh mutants to feed on!
While I played through the campaign first in solo mode, co-op only adds to the insanity. Strangely, there is no dedicated difficulty setting for the campaign, which does balance depending on the number of players you have playing, but I bring this up because the difficulty balance across the stages kind of varies. Some bosses I could just blindly attack and get through, while others took a little learning. Regardless, the game is so freaking fun to play, I can't help but feel like I accomplished a significant feat each time I cleared a stage, all while watching those points tallied up. Each character has a range of attacks along with a special ability. In stages, you can build meter by landing attacks, and once full, you can utilize a screen clearing move. But alternatively, you also have a number of quicker special attacks that are on a cooldown. If you're in trouble, you can also summon your partner character or launch a duo special attacks that cause extreme damage. When explaining it, it does feel like a straightforward beat 'em up, and you know what, it kinda is. The coolest action are the swap actions that let you switch in and out the partner character to extend combos, and then finding interesting character pairings. The best parts are when the entire experience works. At any given wave, you can juggle enemies in the air before launching them across the screen at another approaching enemies, while also triggering a stage gimmick that drops a grenade on another approaching group. Further, the nostalgia factor comes into play a lot, as I feel some of these characters aren't the most well known, but on top of that, there are some deep cut references in the stages and story scenes that will likely make fans of these characters smile. If Tribute Games can continue working on this series, I'd like them to take more risks with the scenarios and how they tell the story.
Whoa, they went all out with the cameos in this level. Catch these hands.
Aside from the campaign, there's also an arcade mode, which lets you take on some additional challenges with online options. As you clear the campaign and other challenges, you'll unlock nodes that allow for additional arcade modifiers, additional lore notes, and palette swaps. I was able to clear the campaign in about 4 hours, but there's some additional challenges and more pairings that could bring it to about 20 hours, I'd say. I'm currently 12 hours in and still unlocking some things, so there's definitely some quality here. I'm looking forward to playing with more people online and also showing my dad that gaming hasn't completely left him behind during any family visits. Marvel Cosmic Invasion lands in that rare spot where a beat 'em up feels easy to pick up but still gives you reason to come back. You bounce between characters, swap partners mid-combo, clear out rooms utilizing different strings of combos, and laugh when the chaos gets out of hand, even with a few missing pieces and some character quirks that don't always hit. The core loop stays exciting in ways that made me want to jump into another run as soon as one ended. What stuck with me the most is how Tribute Games understands the joy of this genre. They give players space to experiment, push for loud and messy combat, and then let co-op carry the energy even higher for hours to come. By the time I was finished with it, Marvel Cosmic Invasion felt like the kind of game that you keep installed because someone in the house will eventually ask to play it again. And honestly, that's a good place to be for any beat 'em up to land. Noisy Pixel is giving Marvel Cosmic Invasion an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.